Shalom, shalom, everyone. Good evening. My name is Uzi Alewi. I'm one of the teachers at Congregation D.C.B. Beit Da'ad, CHOKMAH, BINAH. Thank you the Most High King for this day, the Holy Shabbat day. And thank you the Most High for everyone that's tuning in with us tonight. Thank you the Most High God for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. The ability to do His Torah and be able to uplift them in all things and everything. Torah YAH for my life, the life of all those that I love. Yeladim, everyone. Thanking Yahweh for food, clothing, and shelter, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And just give me 1 second here. Just try to adjust something real quick. Sorry to my peoples. All right. Yes, so can everybody hear me good? Am I coming out good again, across what do you call it? Facebook Live? Facebook Live people, am I coming out good, or is it a weak signal? Let me know if it's breaking up so I could adjust it. Or if I'm coming out good, let me know also. All right. On Facebook Live, let me know if everything is coming out good over there on that end. Thanking the Creator of heaven and earth for food, clothing, and shelter. Thanking the Creator of heaven and earth for everything that He gives us. And just give me 1 second here. I gotta start. Gotta go in my board. Make sure I'm in tune with the chat, which is most important. Open live chat in a new window. Boom, there we have it. Shalom, shalom. So my people, Facebook Live, is the stream coming across good? Is the stream coming across good? Give me a 1 if it's coming across good on Facebook Live. If it's coming out choppy and breaking up, let me know that also, please. So we thank the Creator of heaven and earth for our lives, for everything that He gives us. We thank the Creator of heaven and earth for the knowledge and the understanding that He gives us, even in the midst of all the foolishness that's going on right now. You know, we see a lot of things. People are in a frenzy going shopping. Christmas season is in, and everyone is in a frenzy. You know, gotta get the Christmas present, and I gotta do this and I gotta do that, and never one's questioning what is Christmas and what it's all about. You see, we have to be very careful. We live in a society where everything is forced upon us. There's no picture. All right. Let me make sure everything is working good over here. Just trying to reconnect now. All right. Just let me know how the connection is coming out. Let me know how it's working. Trying to get my people at Facebook Live. All right, so Facebook Live, am I rolling now? Is it good now? Is it flowing? Just give me a quick yes, no. If on Facebook Live, I'm doing good. All right. If the picture is showing good, if it's streaming good, just let me know on Facebook Live. Everything is good on Facebook Live. All right, great. So we in what we like to call the silly season. On YouTube, am I coming across clear? Give me a 1 if I'm coming across clear on YouTube. I got two things going on at the same time here, so I want to make sure that they're all working good. Good now. All right, that's on Facebook Live. YouTube, give me a one if everything is coming across good. So, like I was saying, we are in that season where everybody goes crazy. Everybody's spending all their money. You put yourself in debt. You do all these things. Now, for my brothers and sisters who are Christians, I might have some Christians listening to me right now. It's not far-fetched. Might have some family members that are Christians that are listening to me right now. So, what do I say? I say this. Have you ever researched Christmas and the origins of it? Have you ever researched all of the articles that involve a Christmas celebration, the Christmas tree, the wreaths, the mistletoe, the setting of the star on top of the Christmas tree, the actual celebration of Christ on the 25th of November. I mean of December. I said November. December. Is that really his birthday? Does the book where his life is spoken about in the New Testament, does it say that he was born on December 25th? Myriad of things. It's a lot of things that you need to know about. Who is Santa Claus and what's the connection with the whole Christmas celebration? Who is Saint Nicholas? These are all the things that you hear. What's the origin of Carolyn? I'll tell you this much. Many ancient traditions, especially in Rome. In Rome, there was a celebration, a pagan celebration called the Saturnalia. The Saturnalia involved gift giving, reveling, people decorating their homes with wreaths, with evergreens, which are Christmas trees. It could be a fir tree or whatever type of evergreen that you use. The elaborate dinners, and the Saturnalia lasted from December 17th to about the 23rd or the 24th. What is the significance of all of that? And what is the thing that people celebrate? I'm going to share a couple of things with you. All right? So now I'm going to start out with what is Christmas. So Christmas, Christian festival celebrating the birth of Jesus. The English term Christmas, Mass on Christ's day, right? So this is supposedly the day that Christ was born. And this is the Mass. Christmas basically means it's the Mass on Christ's day, meaning the day that he was born. It says, the English term Christmas is of fairly recent origin. The early term Yule may have derived from the Germanic Joel or the Anglo-Saxon Giol, which referred to the feast of the winter solstice. So now we getting into a little bit different celebration. So it's telling you the Germanic, right, or the Anglo-Saxon Giol. These were celebrations of the Yule, which was a feast of the winter solstice. What is the winter solstice? Well, we are right now, today is the 16th. The winter solstice will begin, I believe, December 21st. That is the official beginning of winter, right? And what happens during this time? And what did ancient traditions see during the winter solstice? So now, because these people were more connected today, everybody, we don't have people that looked at the movements of the stars, and I mean, those people back then were more adept to what was going on in the heavens than us today, because we take things for granted because we have calendars. We could just look it up on the internet, so we don't really study the heavens. But back then, they really did study the heavens, and they studied everything that had to do with the solar system, the way that the moon operated in the stars. And what they understood is that there were, that's how 4 seasons came about, and the different solstices in the throughout the year. So the winter solstice was the beginning of winter, right? It's the beginning of winter. And what happens is, for us as Israelites, we notice this more than other people, because we, according to about holy days come in, we live according to now. So we understand that in the wintertime, and not even in the wintertime, in the fall season, that the days are shorter, right? So what begins to happen? After a certain amount of time, after summertime begins, the days begin to get shorter and shorter and shorter, right? All the way up to the winter solstice. So now during the time of the winter solstice, it's a period of time between December 4th, the length of the day stays even, meaning that there's really no change in how long the days are in those 3 to 4 day, in that 3 to 4 day period. And now, what happens after that is between the 24th or the 25th, the days begin to get longer. They begin to get longer. And they increase. If you check it, every day it increases by a minute. It increases by a minute. So the sun begins to go down later and later and later and later and later. This is what a lot of ancient people celebrated, right? The Christmas tree, the evergreen trees were a symbol of life in the winter, because in the winter everything died. So what a lot of I'm going to get to Rome soon, but what is, they brought a lot of these things into their homes because they believed that they were spirits, and brought them good luck, because here goes this tree. Every other tree drops their leaves, but this one tree right here, it doesn't drop anything. It stays as green. In fact, in the wintertime, it's as green as it ever will be. And because people were superstitious and believed in a lot of, they brought these things into their homes believing that it warded off evil spirits. So there was things and things of this nature. This was all part of the pagan tradition, but I'll get to that, you know. So someone, Zion Asher writes, Roman pagans first introduced the holiday of Saturn. I'm getting to that. I'm getting to Saturnalia in a second. A week-long period of lawlessness celebrated. I'm getting to that in a second. But take it step by step. You on point though, Zion Asher. You on point. And a lot of you already know. A lot of you already know a lot of these points, but this don't know. All right, so here we go. Share the link, share the site. Shabbat Shalom to everybody on YouTube. You already know what it is. With everyone, someone that might need to hear this. Because tonight, I'm not trying to make anyone mad with me. You know, I'm I want to bring you truth, because our people, I'm going to get the actual amount of money that we spend as a people during these seasons, right? So let me go back to what I was reading. Oh, and I got a powerful slideshow that I'm going to do. On December 25th, we're having an actual lounge. It's going to be talking about the psychology of revolution. That's going to be my brother Zion Lex talking about Judah Maccabees and the psychology of revolution, and my since they talk about the pagan origins of Christmas. You know, how it started out. So that's going to be powerful. That's December 25th. Tova Lounge from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. So be there or be square. So now, it says, let me go back to what I was reading. So y'all understand the winter solstice and how that whole thing works. Now, when we Rome, and I'm going to get there to Saturnalia, because there was something where a statement that was made where it was later connected to Christianity, and that's how the whole birth of Christ on December 25th came about. And I'm going to connect and link those to be able to understand. It says, first, the corresponding terms in other languages, Navidad in Spanish, Natali in Italian, Noel in French, all probably denote nativity. The German word Weihnachten denotes hallowed night. Since the early 20th century, Christmas has also been a secular family holiday observed by Christians and non-Christians alike, devoid of Christian elements and marked by an increasingly elaborate exchange of gifts. So what it's saying is that now it becomes such a big money generator that even secular people, you got. That's why they put the X in it, because it's the unknown. But they get into the reverie of the season, because if you don't watch yourself, if you don't guard yourself, and if you don't guard your spirit, you will fall right into the season. Meaning, when you go into the stores and everybody's into the, and you see, Xmas is a feeling. That's the not just the day, it's a whole season. It's, you know, the preparation, the lights, and all these things that they do. It draws you into the spirit of the season. And when you go into the stores, you hear, you know, Mariah Carey, you hear all these people with their Christmas song. So it's a spirit that draws you in. You understand what I'm saying? So now you have to be careful, because now you got all types of people in India that are Hindus and that are Muslims that celebrate Xmas. Because they want to fall. I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying, you know, that there are people that do this, and they fall into the mode of it. Else is going society now that everyone else is doing it. You have Israelites that celebrate Xmas. They say, oh well, you know, it's just, I'm not really celebrating it, as, you know, I'm with this lady and that's what she celebrates and I give her a gift, and doesn't really mean that I'm partake. Listen, you shall not partake of the ways of the heathens, because they will lead you astray. We got to stand firm in what we believe in. So I digress. Let me get back to my point, because I could go off about this and I don't want to go off. I want to bring the scholarship. It says, since the early 20th century, Christmas has also been a secular festival. I read that already. It says, and marked by increasingly elaborate exchange of gifts. So now, this is when we get to the, how do you call it? So we get into a social issue, but not only that, we get into the economics of Christmas. Now, I want y'all to do a research for me out there. Anyone out there listening to me, if you could get these numbers for me. What is the amount of money that if they have numbers of studies out there, do a Google search for me and make sure it's from a reliable source. What is estimated folks spend during Christmas season? How much money do black people spend during Christmas season? And post it up on any one of these forums, either on Facebook Live or in this secular Christmas celebration, a mythical figure named Santa Claus plays the pivotal role. Now, I'm not going to give you all the information tonight because I want you to come out to the event that we're having, but I'm going to talk about it because a lot of people are on the season of it. And what inspired me too is I seen a sister online that was talking about how her niece went to school and they gave her all these things even after, you know, all this stuff relating to Xmas, even after they requested for them not to do that with their child or with their children. But unfortunately, you know, people do not listen. And this is what we have to deal with. So at this time right now, let me go to the next slide. It says, how did December 25th become the birth of Jesus? I'm going to hit you. It says, the precise origin of assigning December 25th as the birth is unclear. The New Testament provides no clues in this regard. So, in other words, you cannot find it even in the book that the life of this man is being spoken about. You're not going to find December 25th as being the birth date of Jesus. It's not written anywhere. You're not going to find it in any historical books. You're not going to find it anywhere. So we getting down to the nitty gritty. It says December 25th was first identified as the date of Jesus' birth by Sextus Julius Africanus in 221 Common Era, and later became the universally accepted date. So Sextus Julius Africanus, I want you to look him up, right? Look him up and see what you come up with. It says, Zion Asher says, over 3 million U 2013. These holiday sales 18 point the retail industry's total sales the year. All right. Let me see. As a result, just over 768,000 employees were hired throughout the United States to compensate for the holiday rush. The Christmas shopping season can start as early as September, and some consumers begin even earlier. And you can see it. They start putting up Christmas stuff before Thanksgiving. You can see it. So it's a big money maker, and they understand that. At this time, and let me continue with what I'm doing over here. So, like I said, December 25th was first identified as the date of Jesus' birth by Sextus Julius Africanus in 221 CE, Common Era, right? And later became the universally accepted date. One widespread explanation of the origins of this date is that December 25th was the Christianizing of the Dies Solis Invictus Nati, right? What does that mean? Dies Solis Invicti Nati. So Dies to me, because I know Spanish, right? And this is Latin. Dies sounds like day. Solis sounds like sol. Sol is the sun, right? Invicti is like invincible. And Nati, I can't make it out. So let's see what that means. Day right? Oh, nati. All right, I get it. Is birth, nacimiento, like birth, birth of the unconquered sun. That's what that means. Dies solis invicti nati. Day of the birth of the unconquered. So one widespread explanation of the origin of this date is that December 25th was the Christianizing of the Dies Solis Invicti, right? Day of the birth of the unconquered sun. A popular holiday in the Roman Empire that celebrated the winter solstice as a symbol of the resurgence of the sun, the casting away of winter, and the heralding of the rebirth of spring and summer. Indeed, after December 25th, have become widely accepted as the date of Jesus' birth. Christian writers frequently made the connection between the rebirth of the sun and the rebirth and the birth of the sun. So you get it? It said Christian writers frequently made the connection between the sun and the birth of the sun. So this was something that was done by Christian writers. And the Christian writers were the ones that began to push even after Julius Africanus, Sextus Julius Africanus in 221 CE was the one that popularized and said that, all right, of Jesus' birth. And that's along the way. And these keep right. So in Rome, this was celebrated. December 25th was celebrated during the time of the Saturnalia. So now, what is the Saturnalia? The Saturnalia is a celebration to the deity Saturn, right? Saturn was a Roman deity. I believe he was the god of farming, right? Of greenery and stuff like that. So people did a big celebration during the winter solstice for Saturn. And Saturn ends up being, in history, as we know it today, we wouldn't know that if you don't know Roman history, but today we know that Saturn is one of the planets out there in the solar system. So now, what is our people really celebrating? Because Jesus has no birth. As far as no birth date, let me rephrase that for the people who are listening, who are Christians, and I don't want to offend, because I want you to understand what I'm trying to say. All right, so in the New Testament, Jesus has no birth date. They don't give you a specific date when he was born. It says, it gives you things that were happening. It says that the shepherds were out with the flocks. We know that was happening, but it don't give you, like in the Old Testament, when it tells you on the first day of the seventh month is the day of the blowing, right? On the 10th day of that same month, it should be a day of atonement, and on the 15th day of that same month is the Feast of Booth, and then 8 days later is the 8th day solemn assembly, Shemini Atzedek. You understand what I'm saying? So when you read about Jesus' birth, it does not give you a specific date when he was born. Y'all get me? Y'all understand? So after this, now another little nugget that I'm going to give you. When Emperor Constantine, Emperor of Rome, became the Emperor of Rome, he made Christianity, and listen to this, before that, in Rome, the ruling way of worship was paganism, where you celebrated the Saturnalia, where you celebrated, certain things, and certain things happen within that pagan religion. But when Emperor Constantine came into power, he made Christianity the state religion of Rome. And what did he do? When he did this, there was a bit of kickback because Romans were used to being pagans and doing pagan customs. So if you're used to doing one thing, you don't want to give it up. So what happened? Constantine said, okay, we're going to morph certain things from our pagan way into Christianity and give it a Christian meaning. Thus, the Dies Solis Invicti Nati, day of the birth of the unconquered sun, S-U-N, which they were worshiping the sun, they were worshiping Saturn, they were worshiping the sun, right? That became the day of the birth of the sun with the S-O-N. All he did was, all right, we changed the meaning and everything from one thing and transfer it to another. And then that way everybody is happy. The pagans are happy, and now they'll gladly do Christianity because they could identify with some of the things that the Christians are doing. Now, you can find writings with old church fathers that oppose celebrating December 25th as the birth of Christ of the New Testament. And they didn't believe in that. And today I think you still have some Christian denominations that do not do Xmas. Why? Because they know and they understand that that was not the birth of Jesus. So why do I say all this? Brother, biggest consumers. We're the economy up, and we're the poorest people in this country. So we have to be aware and we have to be self-conscious of the things that we're doing. You know, and I'm speaking to the stream, right? That spirit of it, you know, one thing you have to do, you have to have conviction. So when you send your children to school, and then certain times you just got to use wisdom. So right now, next week, they're going to have all types of Christmas parties in school. They're going to send a letter home. They could afford to lose a day of school. And you just send a note with with him stating that the reason why you kept your child home is because you didn't want your child to feel any way while they were having their Christmas celebration. So you decided, because we are Hebrews, we're Israel, and we don't partake in that you don't want to send your child to school to expose them to that. In elementary school, you know, the teachers always feel like your child is missing out on something, so they oh, don't worry, you don't have to tell mommy and daddy. And because they can't understand, to them, they can't see, oh, the child is suffering. This is such a nice time. You know, this is such a nice day. Right now, I'm not going to talk about Kwanzaa right now. Kwanzaa is a Johnny-come-lately holiday that started in the 1960s. Tried to combat Christmas, you know, and give it a African spin to it. You know, the 8 days of Kwanzaa, I believe it's 8 days. So, you know, that's just a spin-off. That's all. And the other thing that I want to talk about is, when as Israelites, we Christmas. As Israelites, we want to make Hanukkah Christmas. Have a Hanukkah, you want to have a Hanukkah bush. You want to give out gifts on Hanukkah. You want to do all these things. You might as well celebrate Christmas. And I think Hanukkah comes in on the same day as the first day. Hanukkah comes in on the first day of Christmas. Y'all better not. If you have a Hanukkah bush in your house right now, get rid of it. That's nothing but a Christmas tree. We didn't have, Hanukkah is about the rededication of the temple during the Seleucid period that we were under attack under these wicked, evil people. And you had a man by the name of Judas Maccabeus and his brothers that went out there, restored the temple, rebuilt it, and made people do Torah again. It had nothing to do with gift giving and any of that stuff. That's not what we do. We don't follow what other people do. People lost their lives for that. So how do we taint it by following these silly traditions because you feel like your kids are good? And let me tell you something. The European Jew in the 1940s, he's the one who started with that Hanukkah bush and giving the kids gifts on started from Germany, and after the Holocaust and before that, and they were sending their kids because they used to live in ghettos, right? The Jewish people used to live in all the same projects that you see black people live in. A lot of Jews used to live in them. Then you go to the Lower East Side and places like that, they used to live in what you call the ghettos, right? And what it is the children used to go to public schools. That's before they had a stronghold here and they built up yeshivas and all that stuff. So they used to go to public school. So during the Xmas season, they would, the kids would come home and say, I want to celebrate Christmas. They get gifts and this is happening and that's happening. So what they did, they compromised. They said, well, we're going to get a Hanukkah bush and we're going to give you gifts on Hanukkah. Well, Hanukkah, that's not the feeling of Hanukkah. I hope I'm not boring y'all. I hope that y'all still in tune with me. And I hope I'm making a lot of sense to y'all. Give me a one if you're still with me. If you follow me, you understand what I'm saying. And everything that I'm saying is good. All right, there you go. I just want to know that y'all still with me. Yeah, so we have to be aware of these things. Let me read on over here. One of the difficulties with this view is that it suggests a nonchalant willingness on the part of the Christian church to appropriate a pagan festival when the early church was so intent on distinguishing itself categorically from pagan beliefs and practices. Y'all got that? Shabbat shalom, Ima. Y'all got this? It says, one of the difficulties with this view is that it suggests a nonchalant willingness on the part of the Christian church to appropriate a pagan festival. What's the pagan festival? The Saturnalia. The time when they were worshiping Saturn and they worshiped the sun because of the winter solstice. So the church fathers were against. The original church fathers were against that, but as time went on, it says right here, it said one difficulties is that it's on the part of the Christian church to appropriate a pagan festival when the early church was so intent itself categorically from pagan beliefs and practices. They wanted to separate themselves from pagan beliefs and practices because they knew that Saturnalia and that day of the unconquered sun, that was all pagan, and it was worshiping the elements and the things that the Most High God created. For me, my people, telling y'all, you're gonna learn something here tonight. If you didn't know this before, share this with somebody that might be on the borderline, somebody that you know. I know I'm speaking to the people out there who might have these things holding them. Sometimes they go, you save. Once your family know you don't celebrate this, you save a lot of money because you don't got to buy a bunch of gifts. And God forbid you got a large family. Oh, if you got a large family, if you got a lot of brothers and sisters and they made a lot of babies and y'all like really together and connected, oh, you're going to spend a lot of money. And gifts ain't cheap anymore. You're going to spend a lot of money. You're going to bust that credit card. Yes, you are. You're going to bust that credit card wide open. Or those credit cards, you're going to bust them wide open. Yeah. I want to read something real quick from the Tanakh. Let me see if this tablet is still. I hope y'all getting an education on this tonight, and I hope that you understand of clear. Please the room and let me know that you're hearing me and that you're understanding what I'm bringing forth today. I want to open up my Tanakh on this. Oh, I always ask out. Give me 1 second here, peoples. Let me use a different application. I just love that application. So I just love it. All right. Our brother Zion Asher on Facebook, he's bringing you all the facts, which is great. It's great. And the thing, the funny thing is that the information is out there. People just don't want to. People just stop reading. That's what happened. People don't want to read anymore. No. People just they don't want to read anymore. They don't read. They don't research. They don't look for things. And that's not good. That's not good. Going to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10. This is what I was looking for. And this is very important for us today. This is very important for us as a people so we understand and that we know. Now listen to this. It says, hear the word which Yahweh has spoken to you, O house of Yisrael. It says, Shem'u et adavar asher diber Yahweh Elohechem Beit Yisrael, the house of Yisrael, right? Yahweh Elohechem, Yahweh, asher diber, right, which he spoke, dabar, spoken, has spoken, et adavar. All right, so that's good. Thus saith Yahweh, do not learn to go the way of the nations, and do not be dismayed by the portents in the sky. Let the nations be dismayed by them. Right? It says Ko Amar Yahweh El, right? Hagoyim. The way, right? Hagoyim of the nations. Derek Hagoyim. El Tilmadu. Who may otot Hashemayim El Tekaki Yekhatu Hagoyim Me'ema. So it's basically telling you, do not be dismayed by the portents in the sky. Don't be afraid of the signs of the heavens. Don't be afraid of the things that are happening and you see the tornadoes and all that stuff, because God is judging the earth. He's the one who brings all these things along on the earth. So don't be afraid of these things, right? Don't be afraid of these things because God controls all this. So we was just talking about the Saturnalia, and we talking about people worshiping the sun and all these things. The Most High God is says, for the laws of the nations are delusions, for it is the work of a craftsman's hands. He cuts down a tree in the forest with an axe. He adorns it with silver and gold. He fastens it with nails and hammer at it like a scarecrow in a cucumber patch. They cannot speak. They have to be carried, for they cannot walk. Be not afraid of them, for they can do no harm, nor is it in them to do any good. So, in the same mode that we cut down a tree here to adorn it with gold and with silver and to call it your God, is the same way, in some ways, similar ways, as when you cut down that evergreen and you bring it into your home to bring you good luck or protection or ward off evil spirits. You get it? You get the analogy? Because the idol that you create when you cut down that oak and you carve it out and you call it your God and you bow down to it, it's supposed to bring you fortune, good luck. It's supposed to bring you protection, right? That is the whole. When people have idols in the house, it's supposed to protect. You ever see people, they have little idols on their dashboard? That's supposed to be a protection. So it was with the evergreen tree. When ancient people brought it into their homes, it was supposed to be, quote unquote, is like an amulet, like a protective force, because this tree stayed green throughout the whole year, even in winter where everything else died out. So this is the origins of all of this stuff, right? Let me give you one more thing. Know for sure that what you're doing is the right thing. That the way that you're following is the right way. Have no fear, because Yahweh is the one who protects us. And if you listen, there's nothing. So those are things you have to keep in mind. So now, origins of the Christmas tree. According to Encyclopedia Britannica, the use of evergreen for ancient Egyptians, Chinese, and Hebrews. So you say, how is it Hebrews? Because we took on those traditions. Coming out of Babylon, we took on those traditions and we followed it. It was wrong. As Britannica said, we followed in it. We brought those evergreen trees into our homes as if they were protection. And that's why I made the analogy with Jeremiah chapter 10. And today, the celebration of that, or what the people originally thought of the celebration, or the bringing in of those trees into their homes, and what kind of powers they possess. You understand what I'm saying? Stay with me now. Tree worship was common among the pagan Europeans and survived the Scandinavian customs of decorating the house and born with evergreens at the new year to scare away the devil, and of setting up a tree for the birds during Christmas time. There you go, scaring away the devil. I don't believe in no devil. That's just me. So I don't need to scare anything away. It says, during the Roman festival of Saturnalia, houses were decorated with wreaths of evergreen plants, along with other antecedent customs now associated with Christmas. Like I told you before, they took pagan customs and they just transferred it into Christianity, because now Christianity is the state religion of Rome. The modern Christmas tree is frequently traced to the symbolism of trees and pre-Christian winter rites, wherein Viking and Saxon worshiped trees. The story of Saint Boniface cutting down illustrates the pagan practices in the 8th century among the Germans. A later folk version of the story as the detail that tree grew in the place of the fell oak, telling them about how its triangular shape reminds humanity of the Trinity and how it points out to heaven. So now the Vikings had a particular story about the story of Saint Boniface cutting down donors of oak. But as time went past and their society evolved, they became Christians. They took their stories, converted the oak tree into an evergreen, and said the triangular form of the evergreen tree, and gave the appearance of, of the Christian Trinity. A triangular shape reminds humanity of the Trinity and how it points to heaven. Brothers and sisters, I tell you no lie. This is the stuff that's happening. This is the stuff that's out there. We have to research it. I've been doing this for, it's going to be 28 years come March, next March. 28 years since I was 13 years old. I've been doing this. So and I come from a straight Roman Catholic Christian family that, we had the biggest Christmas tree in the house. Decorated the hallways of the house. And so you know how tough that was at 13 years old to say, I don't do this anymore. I can't receive. You know how many Christmas presents I had to turn down until people really realized that this guy is really not doing. For years I had to turn them down. Someone wrote, Yerusha Yehuda writes, so you kill the tree, bring it in your house to symbolize eternal life, so backwards. Yes. Exactly. Symbolize eternal life, protection against to ward you off from evil spirits, but you killed the tree. So these are things that transpire and that happen, and these are things that we have to understand. You're not going to miss something that you never did, so don't introduce your children to it. And if you were an Israelite that used to do it, and now you don't do it no more, just shut it down. Don't worry, they'll get used to it again. Christmas is overrated anyway. How many times back in the days people used to have those dried up Christmas trees in their homes because they got them right after, black people, we got them right after Thanksgiving, right? And you let that tree sit in your house and dry up, and you put them hot lights on it because they ain't have LED lights back then. Back then they had regular old, them bulbs you could, back in them days, all right, show you that them bulbs used to cook stuff. Now, all you sit, and this is going to show my age a little. Now, I remember my girl cousins, they used to have the oven. Remember the oven that you could really bake with? Do y'all sisters remember that? That oven, that little plate oven, but you could really bake with it? And guess what they had inside that oven? There wasn't no gas and electric, and it wasn't no, what do you call it? No real oven with a flame in it. They used to have a light bulb, and you could bake little cakes with that light bulb. There you go. Easy bake oven. I got a lot of cakes off that. So those bulbs used to be so hot. You see everybody, easy bake oven. They know what I'm talking about. But those light bulbs used to get so hot and the people wasn't understanding that the heat from the light bulb, right? And then we was in those apartments that were extra, that were extra, they had to, you know, if you were fortunate enough to be in an apartment like that, because sometimes the heat went out. But when the heat wasn't out, they just used to pump that heat. The tree is drying out. The combination of these hot bulbs around the tree drying out from all the heat, apartments used to catch on fire, go up in flame. Many families lost their lives. Many families lost their lives. Every wise, you know, plastic trees. You know, those bulbs was doing the job. Yeah, they will overheat. Or the light switch was overheated because your mother. It probably was only like one socket in the room. One socket during Christmas. Man, you put about 4 different extension cords to each other. You run lights all in the house and everything. you you didn't have no breaker on that particular socket. Man, a lot of fires started because you overloaded it. You didn't have no breakers or anything like that. You forget about it. Back then they had those fuses and stuff like that. Maybe it was lucky if that burnt out and then your system. But brothers and sisters, the Creator for coming out of superstition and things that are no value to us. Xmas is I'm speaking to brothers and sisters who this Xmas just drains our pockets. If you see how much money you spend during this time, how many gifts you have to buy, it's true that you're just contributing to society's ignorance and keeping people blind. If you're a Christian, Xmas or Christmas has nothing to do with the birth of Christ, of the New Testament. Read in that New Testament and find me where it says that Jesus was born on December 25th. You're not going to find it. I'll tell you that right now. He wasn't born on December 25th. Then why is it 25th? And then if you just joined on, you could start this video from the beginning when I finish and I upload it. And you could watch it from the beginning. And then you could say, oh, I get it. I know where it comes from. And now you got to make a decision. Am I going to love Yah? If you really love the Most High, then you don't continue in things that have nothing to do with Him. The Most High already gave us Holy Day. He says, I be to you. So I be for us comes in sometimes the end of March into April, right? That should be the beginning of the month. So what's that to us? That's our Happy New Year. That's our New Year. Not January 1st. Gregorian. You know what I'm saying? And because we live within this society, of course we follow the calendar operation. That's right, Ima. The world of capitalism. That was what I was looking for before. Capitalistic society. You're absolutely right, Ima. The world of capitalism. Yeah. So, we have to be careful. So the Most High gave us these holy days, right? He gave us like I said, the beginning of the month, I be, right? Then he told us on the 14th day, right? It says on the 14th day of the first month, It says, it's on the 15th day of the self same month, you should begin the feast of unleavened bread, right? It says, and you do that feast for 7 days. It says, but the morrow after the Shabbat, you begin, he said, you wave the sheaves and you begin to count the Omer, right? And then in the count of that Omer is going to take you to where? It's going to take you to Shavuot, which is an agricultural feast, which is going to be your barley harvest, your first barley harvest, and you bring 2 wave loaves to the Creator. These are holy days that God gave us to celebrate. So we don't have to partake of Thanksgiving and what's the other one? St. Valentine's Day, 4th of July celebration. When America won its independence, we were still in slavery. We don't have to celebrate those days. Days and all in those days will be so successful. The same spirit that we had when Christmas time came and Thanksgiving came, where we cooked, families got together, everybody came, whose house we gonna meet in this year or whatever. That's the same spirit we should have when it comes to these holy days. Whose house am I gonna go to eat at? That's the same spirit. The problem with us is we don't have communities, so we don't get into that spirit. You see, the European, he has community, so they get into that spirit. So then, after that, it tells us, right? Yom Teruah. So we blow the horn to alarm the people like this is a holy month coming in. They say on the 10th day of the self same month, it should be a day of atonement unto you. It's another day so we could repent from our iniquities and God will show us mercy and forgive us. And then it says, on the 15th day of the self same month, it shall be a feast unto you, the feast of booths, so that you can remember that we dwelt in booths while we was in the wilderness. We remember the time in the wilderness. It says, and you shall build booths in all your dwellings. I think I'm remembering. I've been doing this long enough to remember how this thing go. And then it says, on the 8th day, it should be a solemn assembly. That's how we close out the holy season. A day of reflection, remembrance. Remember everything that God has given you. Because remember, the feast of Sukkot is also the lasting gathering. So we gather in our fruits, our vegetables. That's the lasting gathering all the way until Abib. So we're praying that God gives us a healthy crop so that we can survive all the winter months all the way into Abib. Brothers and sisters, we have more than enough days. Let's celebrate them the way that they're supposed to be celebrated so that our children do not feel like they're missing something. You know, on December 25th, which is going to be on a Yom Rishon, on a Sunday, most people have the Monday off. We should get together and just be together so we don't have to get bombarded with everything. Bring our children together. Let them play with each other and let us have a day together. You know, that's going to be the beginning of Hanukkah. So we could come together and forsake this stuff. You know, we don't have to conform to what people do and what they and the things that they're into, because we have a God in heaven that gave us days. So there you have it. I don't know if anyone has any questions you want to call in and add to what I just brought. The number is 347-622-9090. I hope it works because that's where I'm doing Facebook Live from, so it might not let you call in. But if you have my other number, I'm not going to give that number out. But if you do happen to have my other number and you want to chime in, please call me. 347-622-9090. 347-622-9090. Let me know what's happening out there. Facebook Live world. I'm glad to see that y'all up. Share the link. If you feel like you need to share this link with someone, do so. Someone that you might love, that you're trying to get them out of the superstition and the misinformation. Share it. On YouTube, do the same thing. If you feel like you need to share the link with someone, just share it. You know, just share it. Because it's about information, people. It's about bringing the right information to our brothers and sisters and make them aware of a lot of the things that are happening out there. And we can't be afraid. You know what Chief Benjamin told me one day, and it just clicked with me. He said it to all of us. He said, and I want to quote him right. He said, how are we ever going to attract people to us when we get around them? We never want to express who we are and what we are. You know, like, for example, like my Ima, she's a Christian. But if we're gonna sing happy birthday around her, she automatically knows we sing Yo Mulede Sameya. And she sings that. She don't need a happy birthday, you know, because she understands me. She understands my culture. And that's what we gotta begin to do. People gotta begin to understand us. No, I don't do that, my brother, because I'm an Israelite. And I don't live that. I don't do that Israelite. I don't live like that. I don't agree with you swinging two guys at the same time. No, I don't agree with that. That's not. I don't stay quiet on situations like that. It's not right. It's you know, you should choose from one man or another and stay in a relationship if it works out. But don't try to swing two guys at the same time. No, it doesn't work. Like, those are things that we have to be straightforward with. Like, we can't entertain foolishness. You know what I mean? Like, we can't entertain, you know, you go into a store with someone and you see them lifting something from the store. You go, no, I don't entertain that. I can't. Let me separate myself from you before people associate me with you. You got to separate from evil. That's what it says. You separate. Those things are evil. So these pagan ways, we have to separate from them. We have to separate from them. So, like I said, give me a call. Let me know what's up with you. Because that's why I'm streaming the Facebook Live. That number I'm streaming the Facebook Live from. I was wondering if it would just open up anyway, you know. And I know a lot of you like the Facebook Live better than the YouTube. So, but my people on YouTube, they on YouTube, you know. So I gotta be there. This is my loyal base, fan base. Y'all know I've been doing this for a minute now, you know. Many try to imitate it, but can't be duplicated. Y'all already know what it is. Torah YAH for giving me the drive to continue even after all these years. Sometimes it's not easy. You know, sometimes I go on my breaks. That's especially in the summertime when the days get long and you're really tired. You know, that's when I really take a break. But I thought y'all would have a lot to say about Xmas. Oh, I wanted to read something that I just got from this book. It's called, I don't know if y'all can see it. Africa is not a country, it's a continent. It's written by Dr. Arthur Lewin. And the ISBN is 978-0-9628911-9-9. And I found this very interesting. I read this thing right here. To know that everybody truly did come from us. It says, did you know that Africa is not a country? No, not that one. Oh, there it is. This is page 15. It's called African Genesis, right? African Genesis. And it reads, this is off the subject of what we were speaking about, but this I read this and I wanted to share it with y'all. There's much, and by the way, this professor right here, he's a professor of Black Studies in at Baruch College here in New York City. Dr. Arthur Lowen. All right. I'm supposed to sit down and do an interview with him, so I got to read this book so that I could, when I sit down and do an interview, I'm trying to expand and doing interviews with, professors and stuff like that. I'm trying my best. So it says, African Genesis. There's much in the Bible open to debate. Most scholars always have, they question certain things in Torah. But it's okay. You could question things. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. But we know the truth of the living God. So he's not saying that everything in Torah is wrong, but he's saying certain things are left for debate. Right. But one thing seems sure. There was an Eve. This is what he's saying. One thing seems sure. There was an Eve. So he's not denying that there was an Eve. And the garden was Africa. He's saying the garden was Africa. Science has agreed that all humanity is descended from one woman who lived in Africa 200,000 years ago. He said there was an Eve, she was in Africa, and she lived 200,000 years ago. Whether she lived 200,000 years ago, that's open for debate. All right? It reads, science also informs us that everyone of European descent, listen to this now. Science also informs us that everyone of European descent comes from a group of no more than 50 Africans who left the motherland about 40,000 years ago. And every Asian is descending from a group that left about 150,000 years ago. How did they determine that all Europeans come from a group of 50 Africans? DNA testings. That means they left Africa at a certain time. They migrated into Europe. They mutated, or they adapted to the environment. And now they look the way that they look because they living in mountains and in caves, and, nose got finer and complexion got lighter and the hair, straightened out. But they all come from us. Now let me read on. I hope y'all find this interesting because I find it interesting. It says, in 2001, scientists at Massachusetts Institute of Technology came upon a startling find. They were working on the Human Genome Project, the attempt to map out the entire human genetic structure. So, these scientists, they trying to map out who comes from where, blah, blah, blah. That's how when they could do DNA testing, they could tell you how far back your ancestry go back on mother and father side. After collecting samples of DNA from a wide cross-section of individuals from around the globe, they noticed that the genetic differences among Europeans were very minor as compared to the vast differences among Africans. They're talking about us. So with Europeans, the differences in the genetic structure was very minor. It says Europeans come from a group of 50 Africans who left Africa. They could be traced back to a group of 50 Africans. Every European. So it was very small. the differences amongst Europeans compared to the vast differences amongst Africans. So amongst Africans, when they get our genome, we got so many different gene structures that it takes a lot more to try to trace us, an origin to us. It says, in fact, there was a bottleneck, so to speak. All European genetic lines intersect about 1,500 generations back, and all Asian genes converged several thousand generations ago. But to find the intersection point of all African genes, one has to go back about 8,000 generations. That is around 200,000 years, since according to science, humans have been around for at least 5 million years, according to science. Now let's remember that. Remember what I said. How do they determine this amount of years? So according to science, the age of the oldest human fossil remains. That means that for more than 95% of our existence, humanity resided solely in the motherland. Wow. So he's a professor of African studies. Africa is not a country, it's a continent. The book is interesting, you know. He's not like one of those comedic freaks that try to discredit the Bible. He holds it in some regard, you know, the gift of the Nile. I'm not going to get into it. Aksum, Kumbi, Gao, and Timbuktu. I think the Timbuktu thing will be interesting to it. The Ashanti, right? Carthage must be destroyed. Africans came before Columbus. How did Europe conquer Africa? Very into the Middle Passage. Very good. And it has illustrations, pictures. It'll be good for a child also to read. So now, I hope that you learned something out of tonight. If you didn't catch this show, you might need to listen to it from the beginning, because I think this was a show. Just, you know, for everybody out there from the beginning. I need to hit rewind on Facebook Live, hit rewind on YouTube, and really catch the show. I spoke about the pagan origins of Christmas and some of the customs within the Christmas celebration. So, brothers and sisters, tomorrow's a long day for me, so if no one has anything to say, shalom, shalom, sis, how you doing? I'm going to sign off. May the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob be with you all, as I bid to y'all in the tongue of my ancient forefathers. Shabbat Shalom Aleichem, Erev Tov, and Laila Tov, and may everyone have a blessed sleep. And remember, tomorrow, December 17th, we're going to be at Restoration Plaza, 4th Street, all the from Brooklyn, you know where that's at. But if you're not, all you got to do is Google search Restoration Plaza, Brooklyn, New York, and it's going to give you the address. Restoration Plaza, Brooklyn, New York, and it's going to give you, I don't know the address off the top of my head, but we're going to be there from 1 p.m., so that's going to give you an opportunity to go to your Knesset in the morning and come end the day with us. Come praise with us. Bring your drums, your tambourine, bring whatever you got. Come bring so that you could praise the Most High with us. Come out and rejoice in the praising of the Most High. So we're going to be there. Restoration Plaza on the main floor. We're not going to be in the basement. We're working on other dates over there. And we hope that everybody will be. Don't be afraid of the cold. They said it's going to snow and rain. I don't know if that's going to happen, but prepare yourself to come out and be with us and join us so that we can have fun together, so that we could call on the name of the Creator, so that we could be happy in the things that we do, and we could give God the glory that's due unto His name. So at this time, I'm signing off. thanking everybody for joining us tonight. It's a blessing to see all of you and to be here. Y'all make me happy when I see that I put on the stream and still got the same people who are willing to give me an air. That's a blessing. And bear with me, you know. I had a elder call me last week and had to rebuke me and correct me, not rebuke me, but correct me on some of the things that she didn't like. And you know what? I'm man enough to understand and listen and know when I'm wrong. So I'd like to thank that elder for giving me the call. I want to keep our sister Beulah and her children in our prayers. Shabbat Shalom, Yamima. Good to see you, my sister. At anytime. Just, you know, keep tuning in. And yeah, I lost my thought. But yeah, that elder called me. She put me in my place, and I'm thankful for that. I'm never too big to listen to anyone give me advice. You know, give me righteous counsel. So I like to thank the Creator of heaven and earth for all things and everything. Yeah, I'm gonna be streaming from there. So you know how we do. We try to get it. We try to get it out from wherever we at. So we remote right now. You know, once we get an established place, then we're gonna have better service and better streaming. You know, so you gotta bear with us a little sometimes, because sometimes I know the streaming be off, and that's because the last couple of few weeks, you know, I told y'all about the whole change with the service. So right now, Facebook Live is like the bailout. You know, it's like it helps us out. It helps us in what we got to do. And I think it's a great forum. I think Facebook Live reaches much more people even than YouTube. You know, so but I like both forums. I like keeping them both open, because YouTube is also nice and some people are used to it. And it's good. You know, so you know me, I do it for the love. I love doing this. I love being with my people. It's like having a big conversation with a bunch of Israelites at one time. It's family day. So once again, blessed be the Most High King of the universe. May the Most High God bless each and every one of you. May you have peaceful rest, and may Yahuwah continue to shine down upon you and grant you all the blessings of your heart. Hallelujah. Shalom, shalom. And see you in the AM. And like I said, we start at 1 p.m., but there will be a stream with the lesson, with tomorrow's Sidra, that will flow from 10 o'clock till the time, probably till the time, or maybe a little bit before that. So that's going to be like your first half. You know how we have a first half, second half? So that's going to be up there, so you don't miss during that period of time what's happening. All right? So you know I work overtime. That's what I do, and I'm glad for it. I give the glory to the Most High. Hallelujah. Shalom, shalom, everyone. Everyone have a blessed night.